Hi everybody, John Cena here and welcome to FunkQuest end of season playoffs first quarter final. And the thing about quarterfinals is that everybody thinks they can win it. Now we're down to 8 from the 30 odd that entered the show on the start. And on today's show we have number 1 seed Ben Reuter and number 12 seed Cathy Weiss. It is an advantage to go second, I think, in this format. So, Cathy, you've got a moment or two to collect your thoughts. But if you think you are funky enough, listener, to be on the show, these guys make it look relatively easy. This is playoff level FunkQuest. But if you think you are good enough to be on, send me a tweet. And if you think, well, I know there are better answers to that question, then join in at Love FunkQuest. So get a pencil and a piece of paper handy, because at the end of this, you will be able to vote for your choice of Funkster who goes through to the semi-finals. So remember I said, Cathy, you're going to go first. You got to pick an icon.
Okay, I'm going to go with the very first picture of that awesome 80s workout looking chick there.
Workout. What film can you watch over and over without getting tired of?
Okay, this is going to sound super random, but Shrek.
Shrek?
Yeah, I don't know. I think what is so delightful to me about Shrek is the innovation in the writing and the way that they brought in all of those fairy tale creatures. Yeah. When it first came out, it was like really surprising and delightful to see their humor and play on ideas, and how you kind of really had to know like your nursery rhymes and your fairy tales to understand some of the subtext and the jokes that were going on in that movie. And I still crack up when I watch it.
Yeah. Somebody once said to me that the genius behind those is that they're talking to kids and they're talking to mums and dads and aunties and uncles at the same time.
Yeah.
Ben, you get the same question, which is, what movie or movie can you watch over and over again?
Well, in the last round, I answered No Way Out, which I still recommend. But I think for this round, I've got another series of movies or videos for both of you. I think you're both old enough without being too old to remember videotapes and recording things on a VCR.
Yeah.
So any old Ironman Hawaii triathlons from, say, 94 or 95 up to 2005, because it reminds me of when I first started doing triathlons, and I see these shows and I think I could never do an Ironman, and I'd see these shows and I'd see the technology that the professionals and the top age groupers were using on the bikes. Yeah. This is like index shifting for those of you who are into cycling. And if you go back and watch them, you realize, first of all, HD is phenomenal because they are not done in HD, so the quality of the video is not very good. Yeah. And then you just kind of recognize that even though the technology has improved, the people were still going really, really fast. And it's just kind of a really good way to remind me that one of the reasons that I started doing my podcast, because I really believe movement is a lifestyle, and going back and looking at those reminds me of when I was first starting out thinking, I don't think I can do a 10K, or I don't think I can do a marathon.
Interesting. Yeah. Anyway, question 2. Ben, you go first.
Let's go with the third one, the city bridge landscape, since I live in the Pittsburgh area, which is the city of bridges.
That's Tower Bridge, that's Big Ben, and that's Houses of Parliament, just so you know. If you had a magic wand and you could wish for anything, what would you wish for?
This is probably pretty near and dear to my heart. I'm a dog lover. And unfortunately, this past spring, I lost one of my dogs. If I had a magic wand, I'd wish that my pets could live forever. And the reason for that is they just add such a great quality to my life. And each one of them, for people who are pet lovers, they'll appreciate this. They just have their own personalities. And the interesting thing with that is I have a new puppy now, and it's almost as if my old dog left a manual of certain things to do or behave. Like, these are the expectations to be a Labrador in Ben's house. So my magic...
They take that from you, though, don't they? What to do?
Some of the things, like the way that she looks at me, or when she rides in the car, her actions, or, I mean, one of the things when I brush my teeth, the dog that I lost would come into the bathroom and sit there to be petted, and the new one has started to do that. So some of it, yes, is me, but I think some of it is, I'm going to believe that somewhere there's a manual that all my former dogs and cats have left and said, these are some things that you need to do.
Standard operating procedure at the Reuter house.
Exactly. Standard operating procedure.
Yeah. Cathy, you get the same. Was this one the same question? Yeah. What would you wish with your magic wand?
Oh, that answer came to me like boom, instantaneous, and it was my permanent resident visa for Australia. So my husband and I have had a dream and a goal to relocate over to Australia, and we're like so close to making it happen that it's like making me itchy and crazy. So if I could just get it like right now, I would be the happiest person on the planet.
What steps have you had to go through to get that then? You've got Australian embassy and all that stuff and meetings and interviews and stuff.
Right. And for Australia, it's two things. They have a point system, so you have to make sure you have enough points, and you have to receive a state nomination first, and then it goes to the federal level. So it's just, and if you make one tiny mistake on your paperwork, they kick you all the way back to the beginning of the process. So it's sort of like slow and meticulous. It will be realized, but man, if I could just make it like right now, be amazing.
They're quite strict. I know they're quite strict on who they let in and who they don't let in and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I once read about Australia. It's the most regulated country in the Western world. Mm-hmm. Like you can't smoke on the beach, you can't take food onto the beach, you can't do this and that and the other.
Yeah, it's super clean and like healthy, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Next question. Who's turning to go first? Cathy.
Yeah.
Question 3.
Pencils.
Pencils. What's the worst hairstyle you've ever had?
Oh God. It just took me right back to like being 13 years old in junior high. It was so painful. My aunt, God love her, worked at Supercuts, but my mom decided we would just go to her house. And what I was trying to describe in my young, naive words, my hair is a little bit longer than this. And what I was wanting was like basically the mullet with like the little short sides and the long in the back.
Yeah.
And what, I not know what she did, but she cut all my hair off and it brought out all the little cowlicks. And so here I was at 13 when you're trying desperately to fit in, and my hair just like puffed and tweaked, and I didn't know how to use hair product. And it was just, I was like humiliated by my hair for a good year while that grew out.
Traumatized.
Really? Yeah.
Traumatized. Yeah. How long did it take to get over this? 10 years? 15 years?
To get over it?
Yeah.
I don't even know. A while probably. Yeah.
Now then, Ben, I know you had this question last time because we talked about flat tops, so I'm going to kind of do like the Quizmaster's prerogative, and I'm going to click the train, I think. Do you carefully plan or go with the flow?
Both. I'm going to straddle the line. I would say if it's something that's a big deal, I'm going to carefully plan. So if it's something like purchasing a house, purchasing a car, I'm going to carefully plan and probably overanalyze. But if it's something smaller that doesn't mean as much, I'm more likely to go with the flow. So a perfect example of that is last spring I bought a new Jeep. And I actually went in that day figuring I was probably going to buy it, but I'd actually been researching it since the previous September. So I was in a situation where I actually knew more than the lady who was the salesman because they had just gotten those Jeeps in. And I had to politely a couple of times correct her and the sales manager saying, no, that isn't this particular model. So I guess probably the better answer rather than straddling would be I probably carefully plan and overanalyze.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like you do. I mean, that always irritates me when you go to the place where you buy the fridge and the washing machine and all that, and all they do is read the thing to you, like the sales guy. I can kind of read the description. Right, whose turn is it to go? It is, right. Question 4.
Believe it is mine. Yeah. Let's go all the way to the far right, the person going through the records.
Yeah. What really needs to be modernized?
Income tax.
Income tax.
For those of you who are in the United States and file income taxes, you remember probably the first time you filed, you thought, oh, this is pretty cool. You did a form called the 1040EZ that your mom or your dad probably happened. Then as you get a little bit older, and if you have to have a slight entrepreneurial spirit, like I think many of your guests do, Jonathan, then you have to file a more complicated form. And then what happens is if you happen to have something where your income differs from month to month or quarter to quarter, then you have to file quarterly estimates. And at 52 years of age, finally this year, I stopped trying to battle it and figure it out myself. And I hired an accountant, and I don't know why I didn't do it earlier. It's the best money I spend every quarter because I send them all the paperwork and I get back the form where all I have to do is write a check and send it off to the Internal Revenue Service.
So any accountants out there that think you're funky enough, get on. What was it, the records? Mm-hmm. It was. Cathy, next, same question to you. What really needs to be modernized?
First of all, amen to Ben, because man, that like stack of paperwork that we get at the end of the year is crazy town. And my brain kind of wanted to go in 3 different directions with this one. And I think I'm going to go with the LAX airport because it was, when it was originally built, and I don't know what year that was, it was like so revolutionary and amazing. And now it just feels cramped and crowded and dirty and you can't get anywhere. And their idea of bringing it into modern times is to add a few more fast food restaurants, couple more Panda Expresses, and now we're modern. And it's just a mess. We were there a while back. We had to sit on the tarmac for about 45 minutes in this shuttle bus that was then going to take us to our airplane that was like way out in the middle of the field to get on because I know. Anyway, it's a huge mess, and I think they need to raze it to the ground and build it out in the ocean like some of the other big international airports in other countries.
You mean like Los Angeles X, whatever it is? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, Los Angeles International Airport.
Right, okay. I would guess probably 1950s, but that's just a guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. It's just a hot mess now.
Yeah. Last question, question 5. Who's it now? It's Cathy, isn't it?
My turn. Yeah. Oh, gosh. I feel a little torn between the first one and the last one. Let's go with the last picture, the like clothing outfit
the
there.
Kind of summer bag outfit.
Yeah, yeah.
Who would you pay money to listen to?
Wow. That kind of stopped me in my tracks for a second.
What? Anybody? Actress, singer?
Yeah. And my brain was like, oh, I have paid money to listen to Elizabeth Gilbert several times. And she kind of came to my mind first. So maybe I would pay money to listen to her speak again. She does wonderful talks and conversations, and she's so welcome and opening. You could like walk up to the stage during the break and have a conversation with her, and she never turns people away. And saw her at the Wanderlust Festival in Hawaii last year, and she was doing yoga right behind me and just hung out and chatted with people. So I would definitely pay money to listen to her speak again.
I don't know who that lady is, but I always think that's where you get the value, when they're kind of off guard.
She wrote Eat, Pray, Love. Anyway, it's super popular with the middle-aged ladies.
I'm a cultural Philistine, Cathy. No,
that's okay. All good.
Ben, same question for you. Who would you pay money to listen to?
This may seem like I'm pandering, but it actually came to my mind immediately. The Dalai Lama. I had the opportunity in the mid-1990s when I was living in Atlanta. It was one afternoon. I got a call from a buddy of mine whose wife worked at Emory University. And he said, hey, you want to go hear the Dalai Lama speak? And my comment at that time was, who the heck is that? I mean, I kind of knew. So I went down, and the Dalai Lama was there with the translator, and he began to talk, and the translator translated, and apparently wasn't doing a very good job. So about halfway through, the Dalai Lama said in heavily accented English, but very, very good grammatically, I think I can do a better job, gave the rest of his talk in English. And I think now I would want to pay to go back to hear him because I have a much better understanding. I've been to China. I've read more about the history of Tibet. And I think it's just fascinating that he started life literally in a third world country and has progressed. And I believe I saw a picture a few years ago. He actually has an iWatch. So the Dalai Lama.
The Dalai Lama. I think the first time he's cropped up as well. So accountants and Dalai Lama. Is there any of them people listening? We'll get you on the show. So who would? I don't know. Quite often with this, we get an idea or a thought or a suggestion. Oh, I'll go listen to that, or I'll go find that out, or I'll go look her up. So you've got to vote for one of these two Funksters. And if you think that Ben deserves to go through to the semi-final, you've got to send an email to ben@funkthinkers.com, and you'll get a acknowledgement back. And if you think Cathy deserves to go through, you've got to send an email to Cathy@funkthinkers.com. You'll get an acknowledgement. There's no stupid list or anything dorky like that, so don't worry about anything like that. That's what to do. And below this episode will be the date when voting closes to go through to the semi-final. Ben and Cathy, thank you so much for being on the show. Cathy, how can we find out more about you and your work?
You can find me at my website, which is Cathy-Weiss.com. And that's going to send you to all the other socials if you want social, so head over there.
Good stuff. Ben, how can we find out more about you?
Best way is through one of my podcasts, FitLab PGH, FITLAB PGH.com. It'll have links to both podcasts, movement tip and lifestyle hack videos, and give you an idea of why I believe movement is a lifestyle, not just an activity.
Good. Anyway, thank you so much for being on, and we'll speak to one of you in the semi-final. Thank you so much, and speak soon.
Hi, thanks so much for making it to the end of this episode. If you've enjoyed it, please share it with your friends. I have a few people you might want to share it with. Your partner, your parents, your grandma and granddad, your neighbours, your hairdresser, your tea lady, your gym instructor, your swimming coach, postman, the bin man, your cat, your dog, Father Christmas, Mr. Trump, Mr. Putin, Cristiano Ronaldo.